it was literally at that point of working with my mentor, he became my mentor, that I went into a totally different career. I pursued this because I knew. I knew at the time I was in a major medical system. I was being let down.
Yeah.
And how many other women are going through the same thing? So I even knew 20 years ago that this is what I ultimately wanted to do.
Welcome onto the podcast, Amie. How are you today?
Dr. Shivani, thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Amie, you are one of my favorite humans when it comes to how are we going to fix women's health and support us at the highest level. So I'm so excited to get into this episode with you today and to celebrate your new book. This is so exciting. Your new book is out now, The Thyroid Fix. I think every woman needs to read this book and get a deep understanding on her own metabolic health. I know I have been on a journey with functional medicine for at least 15 years trying to manage my thyroid. And it took some specific practitioners along the way to do an intervention with me and say, hey, I have tools to help you. Sorry, classic endocrinology is not helping you, but I have some tools. So I'm excited to get into it today. Let's kick off today with understanding your story and why you're doing what you're doing, because I know you had a series of misdiagnoses from the conventional medicine system, which happens sometimes. They don't always understand us. I know I've been misunderstood a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you gained 20 pounds before anyone figured out what was actually going on. So take us inside that experience. What were you being told? And at what point did you stop accepting it?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that, because I think it's important even just for the listener or the reader of the Thyroid Fix to know that I've been there. Like, I've literally been in your shoes. And this story might resonate for people who are undiagnosed. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I don't even know if I have a thyroid problem. Should I keep listening? I would say yes, keep listening, because what I'm about to describe also might be your story. So this is many, many years ago, 20, 30 years ago. And at the time I was a pretty decent athlete. Like, I was really into fitness. So I was competing in figure competitions. I was doing fitness modeling. I was doing powerlifting. Like, I worked out every single day. I didn't miss a day. If I missed a day, I would do like 2 in the same day just to make it up. So, I mean, yeah, a little bit fitness psycho, call it orthorexic, but I was really into the whole bodybuilding and fitness realm and dove into nutrition, the whole deal. So during one contest prep, and for the listener, when I say contest prep, I mean you're preparing your food every Sunday, you're putting it in little boxes, you're measuring it out to a T, you're counting your macros. And my diet literally consisted of chicken, broccoli, asparagus, some fish, and like occasional oatmeal or something like that. Like, it was bland and boring and strict, but I did it. I was doing it. And I had a coach, because I really truly believe we all need guidance in whatever journey we're on. I had a coach. I didn't want to think for myself. I would check in with him. He gave me my diet plan, the whole deal. So I'm getting ready for the show, which is like my 15th show that I did. So I knew what I was doing, right? I knew how, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to go 12 weeks of dieting. I'll probably, lose some weight during that time. My plan was lose like about 10, 15 pounds, get really super tight, get lean, and enter the competition. So I'm doing this diet. I'm hitting the gym every day, sometimes twice a day, and the scale's going up. Now, you said 20 pounds. That's when I stopped getting on the scale.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that it went to 40. Well, I'm pretty sure I put on 40 pounds onto my 5'2" frame, and which is very uncomfortable, by the way.
Yep.
And I didn't even want to know anymore. So as that scale was going up, and time frame wise, I would say rapid. It was like a 2 to 3 month time frame where that weight came on. And I was going to doctor after doctor, just like you said.
Yeah.
Doctor after doctor after doctor. Every single one of them said, you're normal. Everything is fine. One of them told me to eat less and exercise more. I couldn't believe that, because I would hand them my diet. Like, I would show them, like, dude, this is what I'm doing. Please listen to me. And they all dismissed me. So 6 total, 6. And often I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I would have stopped at doctor number 4. So if anyone's listening and you've been told you're normal, or if you're sitting here listening and you're going, oh yeah, I have my thyroid checked and my doctor said it was fine. I hate the word fine. I hate the word normal. I
Me
hate
too.
within normal limits. I hate all of that to describe your labs because we'll get into this obviously. And I talk about this in the book. Chances are, if you heard that word, if you heard, oh, you're normal, your thyroid looks good, it's fine. Chances are they didn't test thoroughly because they didn't test thoroughly on me. And they kept telling me, you're normal, you're normal. Finally, the seventh doctor actually diagnosed me with hypothyroidism. So obviously, after that visit, I
Yeah.
left her office pumped up. I was like, thank God I have a name for this. And she gave me a pill. Oh, she gave me a pill that was going to fix me. I was so excited. I gave it 5 months. The little pill didn't work that we'll talk about. That was T4. So anyone listening, if you're on levothyroxine, Synthroid, Tyrosine, if you have a little pill that you're taking for your thyroid and all it is T4, it's never going to work. I have news for you. You will never, ever, ever get better. And that's why you have to keep listening. So she gave me that pill, didn't work. I went back to her. I'm like, I did some doctor Googling because that's all I had at the time. We didn't have podcasts. We didn't have Chat GPT. I went to Dr. Google. I'm like, doc, I've been Dr. Googling here. And turns out there's this active thyroid hormone. It's called T3. What you gave me in this pill is an inactive thyroid hormone. I don't even have a receptor site anywhere in my body for this inactive thyroid hormone. It has to go through this huge transformation process to become T3 to do anything, like to give me any hope of losing these extra 40 pounds that I'm carrying around and maybe grow back some of the hair that fell out of my head. We're going to need some T3. And she says, I don't do that. That's not standard of care. Standard of care, because that's what conventional medicine operates on under. Standard of care, which means they test your TSH. If it's high, they give you T4. They send you out the door. They wish you good luck. They retest you in 6 months. So when she said that to me, I'm like, see ya, bye, thank you so much. I'm going to find someone who will give me that active thyroid hormone. And that whole process led me into functional medicine. Like that was it. I was done with conventional medicine after doctor number 7.
Yeah.
I went right to, kept hearing the name of this doctor. I'm like, okay, universe, God, thank you. I'm going to finally go. And I went to him and he sat down with me for 83 more minutes than any other doctor had ever given me.
Wow.
We sat down for 90 minutes, not the 5 to 7 minute visit. And first of all, he ordered all the labs we needed to see. Then he went through and painted the picture. Then he put me on the right thyroid hormone replacement, which that shifted my body. So then I started feeling better. The weight started coming off. My hair started growing back. It was literally at that point and working with my mentor. He became my mentor that I went into a totally different career. I pursued this because I knew. I knew at the time I was in a major medical system. I was being let down.
Yeah.
And how many other women are going through the same thing? So I even knew 20 years ago that this is what I ultimately wanted to do.
Wow. And you've been pursuing your love for 20 years.
Yeah, I have been.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's so cool. I had a similar story and I found Ayurveda and I was like, you know what? I need to study this thing. I don't understand how we have not all understood this system of health and what it can do for us. And when it comes to thyroid health, your topic, I remember when I met a doctor so many years ago after having kids, and I said, I am having a hard time here. I am normally a motivated, smart, focused girl. And if I work out, lift, and eat well, weight comes off my body. But everything has stopped working at once. And I think I was about 32, 33. It was between having my 2 kids. And she was a functional medicine doctor. And she goes, you are subclinical thyroid. When you go to the doctor, they consider you not full-blown anything yet, and they have no treatment solutions for you. So subclinical, I'm going to give you this one medication. I know it's a medication. I know you're anti-medicine. But I want you to take it, and you let me know how you feel. And that medication back then was Armour Thyroid. And when I took it, I felt like I had gotten glasses inside my brain. I could see clearly. I could think clearly again. My brain worked. I was like, dang, this is huge. And then about a decade later, which is about 2 years ago, I called you, maybe 15 years later, and I said, "Amie, something is wrong, and I've heard you speak, and I think it might be your wheelhouse. My brain's not working, my energy's not there." I was sitting and trying to write my book. I literally called you from Houston, Texas. I was in this little room writing my book, and I was like, "Something is wrong here. I can't access everything I know, and why is it lately that I'm just so tired?" And you were like, "Shivani, I've got you." And I've always loved working with you because of how much you know about your topic, how you've done this all day. You know the right way to customize the right solution for women. And the title of your book, I have a copy right here. I have an advanced copy I got to get. And the title of your book says it really plainly. It's not you, it's your thyroid. And how many women are sitting there with these diagnoses of anxiety, depression, or they're just being told, you don't have a problem. You need to eat less and work out more, like you said, which is, I think, the wrongest thing to ever tell a woman nowadays. I'm like, do you not think we're not trying to eat well and exercise well at this
Right.
point? It's
Mhm.
just insane that people say that to us. And so when it comes to the book, how are people walking around, or what do you say to women who are walking around who are either undiagnosed or they're undertreated for their thyroid problems?
And those are the 2 camps of women that I wrote the book for.
Yeah.
So, for the undiagnosed, number 1, I say listen to your body.
Yeah.
Listen to those symptoms and do not dismiss them. Like, don't turn around and medically gaslight yourself because we're already getting enough medical gaslighting from the conventional medicine system. So let's actually do something different and pay attention to those symptoms. I always say that those symptoms are gifts given to you by your body because it's your body saying, "Hey, Shivani, can you pay attention to me real quick? Because there's something going on." Now,
Yeah.
if we ignore it, those little whispers will get much, much louder because your body is trying to tell you something and it will go from a whisper to a scream and then it will be miserable. So let's listen to our body, listen to our symptoms, and let's do something about it. So the very first step for my undiagnosed would be to test. Test, don't guess. And of course, in the book, I run through all the tests that we need, all the ones that we have to ask for specifically, that we don't just go in and say, "Hey, doc, can I have a full thyroid panel?" That's not going to work. You have to
Mm.
lay out those tests that you want, write them down, and I tell you I give you step by step guidance of how to do it and really how to talk to your doctor. So that would be for the undiagnosed. For my diagnosed ladies, it doesn't change that much. It's still listen to your symptoms. So if you're diagnosed and you're being treated, i.e., given some kind of thyroid medication, you should feel better. And if you are sitting there going, "Yeah, I take this thyroid med, it does nothing. Why am I even on it? Like, can I go off of it? It does nothing at all." Then you're not on the right thyroid hormone replacement for you. You're not on the right medication. Because when you are, when we find that beautiful combination, the right dose, the right ratio of T4 to T3 that works for your body, you feel like a rock star. Like you do not have symptoms. You will get through your day like a shining star.
Yeah.
And that is how we are meant to move through this life. We're not meant to be fat, foggy, and fatigued and losing our hair. So I would say first and foremost, listen to your body. Listen to your body. Weight gain, inability to lose weight, hair loss, brain fog, fatigue, loss of the outer corners of your eyebrows, cold intolerance, constipation, joint pain, migraines, frozen shoulder. I mean, literally from head to toe, the thyroid runs the show. So any symptom you have, I want you to pause and write them down. Just write them down so you can see them. Write them down so your doctor can see them as well. Because those symptoms, when you look at them, you go, "Okay, holy cow. I had no idea that I had all these classic thyroid symptoms. Maybe I need to do something about it."
Absolutely. And you named a ton just now of symptoms. And sometimes we don't attribute those to our hormone health. And right now we're having such an amazing conversation in the perimenopause, menopause space where, a lot of them who I follow everyone and it's like my master class on menopause, but they're saying, frozen shoulder, it's estrogen. And so
Mhm.
I didn't think of frozen shoulder as thyroid related as well. And so are there a lot of things that are affecting us in perimenopause, menopause differently, and we're not understanding the thyroid piece of the equation as well?
Ah, that's so good, Shivani, so good, because you made an excellent point. Obviously, I too follow all of the perimenopause, menopause gurus, had them on the podcast, read all the books, and I love hormones. I mean, we do hormones at the Advanced Thyroid Hormone Clinic along with thyroid. I think they play together, they go together well. But what I kind of want to shout out to the world is wait, wait, wait. Before you put on the VHRT, before you add in those hormones for your perimenopause and menopause symptoms, look at the master gland. Look at the gland that actually dictates whether or not your perimenopause transition is going to suck or it's going to be smooth.
Sure.
And that ultimately is dictated by the thyroid. I mean, how many women are out there going, yeah, I take hormones, but I don't really feel any better. I don't know. I heard everybody else talking, and these hormones are supposed to like change your life, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I felt a little shift, but it's not quite there. I'm not losing the weight. I still have the brain fog. I still have all the symptoms. That's where you have to go to the master gland. Now, yeah, there's a lot that overlap. And I specifically talk about that in the book about thyropause. So that's basically that time where we're going through perimenopause and we're trudging along and our progesterone is dipping and our testosterone is dipping and our estrogen's going on a wild roller coaster ride up and down that literally triggers thyroid dysfunction because the hormones and the thyroid play together. So as we go through perimenopause, we can't just say, oh, yep, it's those pesky hormones. I'll just add on hormones. We have to stop and go, yeah, it's the pesky hormones declining, which now affected my thyroid function. So a year ago, I tested everything and it looked pretty darn good. And now all of a sudden, I'm looking at these numbers going, how'd Hashimoto antibodies come up all of a sudden? Why'd my free T3 go into the toilet? And that is that intersection of thyroid dysfunction waving hello as we crest the age of 40.
Wow. I wonder because I've worked with you and your team. I remember you and I spoke and you were like, Shivani, I've got you. This is like my bread and butter. I do this all day. This is every woman who calls me. This is the chief complaints. But you connected me to someone on your team, which is good because you're my colleague and friend. So I'll only complain to you so much. But when your nurse team called me, they're like, okay, we just need a little more clarification. We need to fill out the rest of the chart. And they went through a good series of questions where they were like, do you have any anger? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Obviously, I'm a nice person. I'm fine. It's fine. She's like, how do you feel in your home after about 6 p.m.? And I was like, well, I'm fine. I just wish I had my own house. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, right after 6 or 7, I feel like as a mother, I am done with my job. I got you through your day and I got you fed and you're just doing homework in silence. And can't everyone just be silent and give me my own like wing of another house? But she said that's called rage. So just let's clarify what that feeling is that you're talking about. I was like, I wouldn't classify it as rage, but yes, I can't handle sounds, movement, or interaction after a certain point. I have no energy in my tank and I have no tolerance for it. She goes, got you. I got you. So she took her notes. And then she asked a couple of other questions like that. And in the end, I was like, whoa, this is a lot more symptoms than I was acknowledging. And it didn't occur to me that part of the problem was hitting about 43 years old, embarking on a book. A book is a massive project, as we both know now. It's just any project, right? Whether our audience and our listener today is writing a book or she's got something big happening in her life, whatever it is, could be a wedding, could be your child going to college, could be your kid applying to high school. That's my life in this next year. Like whatever's the big thing, could be travel soccer. I feel like travel soccer threw me over a bit of a ledge in the last year. So whatever it is that's a huge stressor, it could be exacerbating symptoms. And you may not realize that cortisol, this is what you've taught me, cortisol is stealing from your pregnenolone and you are lacking your foundation to your thyroid hormones. And nobody is testing you for a pregnenolone, DHEA, where are we sitting? A lot of times in perimenopause, we as the newly educated consumer are chasing BHRT like I did. I was like, someone give me testosterone. Someone give me progesterone. I need those. But completely ignoring thyroid is why you are burnt out, tired by 6 and don't want to function anymore. So, can you kind of speak into that? Because I think women hear that list of symptoms,
Mhm.
but they may not understand how their complete shift in their body is not just perimenopause, but it's tied to stress levels and thus how they've impacted lack of thyroid support.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a beautiful question because well, and I'll add on to that too. I think we're in this time as well, especially on Instagram, right? Where a lot of influencers will pound this adrenal thing. Like, all you need to do is fix your adrenals. Oh, you're stressed out after just fix your adrenals. Take my adrenal supplement. Take my adrenal fix masterclass. And it's like, wait. Okay, you can sprinkle adrenal fairy dust on a person all day long. They can drink adrenal cocktails, meditate in the sun, whatever. But if their thyroid is not functioning well, whether it's because it's been bombarded and beaten up for decades, they have Hashimoto's, you have Hashimoto's, or whether it's just downregulated because you're going through that perimenopause transition. Just like you said, where your adrenal glands, yeah, you're stressed. I won't take that away. I mean, travel soccer, the whole deal, like that, it just piles on and piles on. So you do experience that stress. That stress is absolutely taxing your adrenals. And just like you said, Shwani, your adrenals will steal progesterone and pregnenolone as a building block to make more cortisol. When progesterone and pregnenolone decline, that starts affecting the thyroid. It starts affecting your T4 to T3 conversion, like what I talked about in the beginning. T4 is that inactive thyroid hormone. It has to become T3. Progesterone helps with that. If you're stressed out of your mind and you don't have enough progesterone, your T3 to T4 conversion is going to tank. If your progesterone tanks, guess what? You become estrogen dominant then, and now that estrogen dominance actually binds up, it creates something called thyroid binding globulin. It increases your TBG. That binds to your active thyroid hormone. So now you have a boatload of thyroid issues over here that no one's paying attention to because you're sprinkling adrenal fairy dust, crossing your fingers and wishing on a rainbow that helps. But it's really your thyroid. And I always say the adrenals love thyroid and thyroid love the adrenals.
Hmm.
They play together in the same sandbox. So when one is off, the other is going to be off as well. We need both balance in order for each system to work properly. So if you're stressed out of your mind and your cortisol is really, really tanking and it's starting to steal your sex hormones, your thyroid over here, yeah, it's affected. Like we already said,
Sure.
but it's also going like to the adrenals, like, hey, we're over here trying to work. I'm T3. I'm trying to get to the cells. I'm trying to give Shivani some energy. I'm trying to reduce her stress load and build up her stress resilience. I'm trying to help her not gain weight looking sideways at a brownie. I'm really trying to help her out with her hair because that's falling out too. And, I can't do my job unless you do your job. And then the adrenals are over there going, dude, well, we can't do our job unless somebody addresses the fact that there's not enough T3 in the system. I mean, you're walking around, okay, this person's doctor's giving us some inactive thyroid hormone, but that doesn't help. So it's like both systems are talking to each other, hoping and praying that the body that they are in does something to fix the thyroid and to get more T3 in the system so it all can play together and be happy.
Yeah, I mean, and if the listener today, if you're listening and you're like, wow, that was a lot of words. It was a lot of words. And I am in the health space. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. I teach health. I even signed up for a functional medicine certification program this year because I was like, I need to understand all this better. How do I not understand all this? But when I hired you and your team, I was so grateful to finally have someone take the time to customize for me because I had already been taking Armor Thyroid and I had taken it for long enough, almost a decade, that the practitioner I was working with was like, I'm in Texas and you're not willing to come see me. I cannot keep prescribing to you. Find someone else. And so here in South Florida, where I live, I started looking around like, I need a prescriber. Who am I going to find? And it turns out I found an endocrinologist in Boynton Beach who retired in the pandemic. And when I met with him, I said, hey, here's what I know. There's Synthroid and then there's Armor or NP Thyroid. And I'm trying to convince all my friends that they need to go see if they need this solution because I don't think that solution works. I know women on this other solution and they're not getting the benefits. Their blood work moves, but their symptoms don't move. And he goes, that's what I've seen. That's why I prescribe this. I know it's not something that anyone else in this practice does. It was a huge endocrinology practice. He said, I have that experience too. I can put a woman on the Synthroid, this T4 solutions, and she will still gain weight. She's still tired. She still has brain fog and she's still unhappy, but her blood work's correct. Or I can give her this and she starts getting the results she wants. So when I came to you, you said, guess what? You actually solved part of your problem, but you didn't solve your whole problem. And I am estrogen dominant, or I was, due to zero progesterone. I finally got tested and it's like, okay, so you actually need a spectrum solution and you actually need it customized to you. And that's when I told my friends, I was like, guys, you all need this. I know this. I hear you complain when we get together to have drinks every couple weeks. I figured it out. Amie knows how to figure this out for you. And they were like, well, can my doctor do that? Can my primary care do that? Can my gynecologist do that? And I said, I'm sorry, but no, because this is a 1-hour conversation. I'm Shivani and she found my perfect cocktail mix between pregnenolone, progesterone, thyroid, a new thyroid med, timing of that thyroid med in the day. And wow, in addition, by the way, all of our thyroids are undernourished. None of us is getting vitamin B, D, iron, iodine, like everything we need in the right proportions. And so that's why you created a whole supplement line. That's what I learned was like, wow, you not only have a clinic to help customize solutions, but you built supplements to also support where we're lacking things. So when people say that to you, I mean, I'm sure you're like, I already know that you need customized help, but don't you find it frustrating that we're in a time where you have all these answers and you're talking about them for free online, teaching them. And I just am curious, when is this endocrinology group called All of Them going to come along and say, hey, there has to be a different way? I find that's the power of functional medicine. We have to find the functional medicine subspecialists who can help us optimize in each area that we need. Because otherwise, we're going to have all these moments where, like you mentioned, Hashimoto's. We know Hashimoto's is autoimmune. We know that means the immune system's driving the attack. But when I've seen women get diagnosed with Hashimoto's, sometimes they go in and they're told, you're actually pre-Hashimoto's. I have nothing for you. When you're full blown, come back. And I actually stood in an endocrinology office. I took my sister-in-law in, and that's when I got the most enraged and why I do complain about them as a group. And I feel very righteous in it. I asked the doctor specifically, I said, okay, you're saying she only gets her period every other month. We need to give her thyroid med or she will not get pregnant. And that's why we're bringing her to you. And you will not prescribe because she's not there yet. Is there anything you believe she can do for her diet to create any shift for her thyroid health? And the doctor said no. And that's when I was like, and we are done, people. You as a group lost my trust. And people know I'm somewhat supportive of Western medicine, but if you give answers like that, you're like off the ship. And so how do you explain to women, guys, you need to customize for you or else?
Yeah, exactly. So there's so much there. I also want to unpack what you were on too, because I think there's a little bit of a misnomer with natural desiccated thyroid. So we'll unpack that.
Please.
But to answer your first question, I don't know when conventional medicine will come around. I don't. I mean, my story that I told in the beginning was 25, 30 years ago. And it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, you even know this from your experience and all the listeners who have gone through the conventional system. Maybe you've seen 2, 5, 10 doctors. It's frustrating out there and they're all still working off of the standard of care model.
Yeah.
And, years ago, I actually gave a talk to this group of integrative wellness physicians. They were literally they were transitioning from being in a conventional practice, and they wanted to start the first integrated practice in Erie, Pennsylvania, where I used to live.
Okay.
And so they brought me in to teach on thyroid. So first of course, we're talking about testing and the importance of proper testing. And then I brought up, I'm like, y'all are still in this Synthroid box, meaning T4 only. That's all you're prescribing is T4. Why is that? I said, if you had somebody come in who was depressed Now, that's a whole different story. Maybe they actually need antidepressant, but let's say you're putting somebody on an antidepressant, right?
Mm.
And that one doesn't work, you're going to try another one. That one doesn't work, you're going to try another one. You're going to stack on a benzo and maybe combine two together. And you're going to keep trying different combinations of medication to get this person out of their depression.
Yeah.
But that same person comes in and you give them one thyroid medication because that's standard of care. Why is that? There's so much else out there.
What's a
There's
monopoly? That's
T3,
what
there's
that is.
ND, like we can combine it, we can shift the ratios, we can have fun with this. And the one doc raises his hand and goes, that's all we've learned. That's all we've learned. So the unfortunate message, and I'm sorry this is it. We're not saying this to try to push you into functional medicine. This is just reality.
Yeah.
The chances of you finding a PCP, OBGYN, endocrinologist, wow, that's really bad. Your chances really go down there. The chances of you finding someone who knows what they're doing with the thyroid and who's willing to literally find that nuanced combination of thyroid hormone replacement for you in the right dose for you, where they don't have some mental cap on how much T3 you can have, is rare. It's like finding a unicorn. If you find someone like that, you wanna like put them in a cage and study them and study their brain, because it literally doesn't exist in the conventional system.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to Armour Thyroid, because just like you said, you got put on Armour Thyroid.
Yeah.
And your brain lit up for a little bit. What we ultimately found with you, and I kind of want to break this myth with a listener.
Please.
A lot of people think if I can just go over to natural desiccated thyroid, if I can just get my doctor to prescribe Armour or NP, Nature-Throid was one NDT of the past. But if I can just go on natural desiccated thyroid medication, I know I'll feel better. Or some people are like, ooh, there's natural in the title, so that must be better. That must be a more natural way to support my thyroid. Okay, yes, but the problem is that Armour Thyroid is 80% T4. It's only 20% T3. So you're only getting 20% of that active thyroid hormone. The majority of natural desiccated thyroid is T4, the inactive thyroid hormone. Now, for some people, and there's going to be a listener out there that goes, I changed to Armour. It changed my life. I've been on it ever since. I've been on it for 20 years. I'm good. Cool. That's awesome. That means that you convert that inactive thyroid hormone really well. Like your body takes that T4 and rips off an iodine atom, converts it over to T3, and your body just sucks it up and loves it. But for a lot of us, what happens is that T4, that 80% of T4 in the NDT medication, gets pushed down this other path called reverse T3. And reverse T3 literally puts your body into a lockdown survival mode. Reverse T3 is your body's way of saying, oh, this person must be dying. So if they're dying, they don't need to lose weight, grow hair, think, poop every day, have skin cell turnover, like nothing. They just need to survive. The issue is, if you're not lying in a hospital bed dying and fighting for your life, you really don't want that reverse T3 to be elevated. That's what was going on with you.
Yeah.
You were pushing that T4 over into reverse T3, and it was locking you down. So you thought like, wow, this is a better medication than Synthroid. And you were right, but ... for you, not so much.
No.
So we needed to change that ratio. So you had a little bit more T3 coming in and a little bit less T4 coming in. So some people will transition them off of the Armour and will use a boatload of T3 and a little bit of T4. Or some people will say, you know what, stay on the Armour, stay on the NP. We just need to adjust the dose and we need to bring in some T3. So that's just, I wanted to share that story with people because number one, like I said, a lot of people think natural in the title is better.
Yeah.
It's only better if it works for you. And it's only better if it brings you into optimization land. And the fact that, you know, we can really nuance your treatment. And literally, that's what I do in the Thyroid Fix. I take you by the hand and I walk you through the process of looking at your own labs because, yes, believe it or not, you can learn how to read your labs just like I do. And I will teach you that. And then I take your hand and we walk down another path and go, okay, now that you know your labs, let's find what category you fall into. Is your reverse T3 super high and your free T3 is low? Okay, then we're going to do this with your thyroid hormone replacement. Oh, is your reverse T3 good, but you just need a little bit more free? Yes. Then we're going to do this with your thyroid hormone replacement. And you will learn exactly what combination of medication, what dose you need. Like I will teach you that in this book, which is why I joke and I say, doctors, Shivani, they're going to pucker. They're going to cringe. They're going to get like all itchy and get hives and be like, "Oh my god, she's teaching people what like thyroid hormone replacement they need." And they're not going to come to us and treat us like a god and rely on what we say. They're actually going to ask for what they need. What are we going to do? So, I just wanted to expand on that because it really is that nuanced art.
It is. It's such a nuanced art. And I think nowadays women know we have to be educated and we want the answers. And historically women haven't even been in the scientific research. So even right now, when you were talking about thyroid and endocrinology, you can attribute the exact same analogy to menopause. Like we know
Yeah.
menopause was studied less than 10 hours
Yeah.
in med school, if at all. So you're dealing with a group of doctors right now who literally didn't study it. And they're like, I didn't study it. You're studying it apparently on Instagram, all of you at 20 hours a week. So you're coming in with more data and science than I have. I literally think we all need a PhD on women's health nowadays just to navigate our own health. And that's why it's so great that so many doctors are on Instagram. My kids actually make fun of me. They're like, your Instagram feed is so boring, mom. Like, why do you only listen to doctors all day? I'm like, Abby, I gotta learn, man. I gotta figure out how to navigate my health. So yeah, it's an interesting moment. And I know in the book you talk about gut health because we know that gut health is a factor in our thyroid function. In Ayurveda, we call that Agni or our digestive fire. And then I know you also talk about how if we're not going to manage our gut health well, thyroid won't work well. And if we're stressed, we're always going to be inflamed, which is always going to cause thyroid dysfunction. And my book and this podcast are called The Inflammation Code. And I have a theory that as we're aging, as we're going into our half decades or decades, part of the issue we have is we're kind of running into it like a freight train, more and more inflamed, not acknowledging the role that inflammation has. Inflammation is causing destruction. Chronic low grade persistent inflammation is like a forest fire damaging everything. And now that I'm talking to you, I'm like, the poor thyroid, man, how much can it possibly take? And so, will you talk to the audience today about inflammation and its role when it comes to our thyroid?
Yeah, we could probably merge our books together and like there's the perfect combination,
Yes.
right? Because just like you said, inflammation is a driver for all disease. I mean, that's the beauty of your book is it hits we could talk about cardiovascular disease, we could talk about Alzheimer's and its connection to inflammation. We can talk about cancer and its connection to inflammation. So really, I mean, inflammation is at the root of all thyroid dysfunction. So you have to do everything that Shivani talks about in the inflammation code in order to have proper thyroid function, hands down. And then we have to go deeper and we go, okay, you're doing all these things over here, but the thyroid still took a hit.
Yeah.
Because you're over 40, because the inflammation damaged it, because the inflammation turned on that Hashimoto's switch that sat in the off position for years until you went through that stressor, until you ate the bad food, until you did XYZ to cause inflammation in your body. Now, guess what? That switch just flipped on. And now you have another problem over here that all the anti-inflammatory protocols that Shivani has in her book not going to work over here because now you have to treat your thyroid.
That
Like,
got damaged.
congratulations, you did all the things, but now your thyroid is bonked.
Yeah.
It really is. So it's literally the perfect combination because the message is if you're not doing what you talk about, if you're not doing things to lower your inflammation, and you're bringing in thyroid hormone and it's a dumpster fire that you're putting it on, it's not gonna work. So if you're not sleeping, if you're eating like crap, if you're still eating processed foods, if you're doing all the things, then you know what? Don't even bother. Don't even bother because the thyroid hormone replacement that we try to do for you isn't even gonna work. But if you do it all together, it is like this beautiful symphony. I call it optimization land. I invite everybody to join me in it. So it really is a place, it's a lovely place where the sun shines every day and you don't gain weight looking sideways at a brownie. You have abundant energy to get through your day. Yes, even after 6 p.m., where you wish you had a different house, you still have energy. You have stress resilience. You're like, okay, I got this. Like, it's cool. And you're literally enjoying life every single day. Oh, and you sleep well too. And you don't count the hairs that come out of your head. So it really is about doing both of those things, your book and my book, to come into optimization land and your body works beautifully. And I know for some listeners, they can't even believe it. I would even argue for some people, the way they feel right now and the symptoms they're experiencing have become their new normal and they don't even realize they're better. You know, I talk about a story that I share in the book, and I'll never forget this. I was sitting on a plane next to a woman, and you know, you do the hi, how are you? Talk. What do you do? And she goes, oh, I have a thyroid problem too. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, what are you taking? Synthroid. And I'm doing great. My doctor says it's fine. I'm doing great. And I wasn't going to go further with her because in her mind, she believed she was doing great in
Right.
air quotes. Meanwhile, like literally I could see her scalp. Like she had such thin hair, I could literally see her scalp. And she was probably, oh, she didn't have the outer corners of her eyebrows. So I was looking at that too. And
Mm.
she was probably like 75 to 100 pounds overweight.
Mm.
But she just accepted it. Like that was to her, that was doing great because her doctor said her thyroid was great and she didn't even know there could be better.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, people ask me what are the symptoms of inflammation. I'm like, anytime you start complaining about aging, where you say, I'm tired, my brain hurts, like my joints hurt, I can't think straight, I can't focus, fatigue, weight gain around the middle is also inflammation at times. And you say, I guess this is just aging. That voice, pause. I have that voice sometimes. I go, I guess that's just aging. I'm like, pause. It's not
Pause.
aging, it's
Right.
inflammation. What have you done or changed? What shifted in your life that causes this inflammation? And that's something so powerful I learned working with you was it was really a matter of understanding every piece of the puzzle and then understanding how to shift for it. So once you shifted what I take, when I take it, how I take it, like I'm on the Amie plan. So now through my book launch, I had energy till 10 p.m. every day.
Nice.
It's interesting because I could like bypass a lot of my own health rules and like work till 10 because sometimes I get in a zone from at 6 o'clock. I'm like, okay, no one needs me. I'm going to work. And I work and
Mhm.
all of a sudden I look up and it's 10 o'clock and I'm like, you were supposed to be sleeping. You talk about this. Get off your laptop and get in bed, honey. And so it's been beautiful because I have energy, like I call it clean energy through my whole day till the end of the day. I have a much deeper understanding of how to support my thyroid health from the ground up. And that comes through taking the right vitamins, the right minerals, not just taking the medication. It's a full court press kind of plan. And I love that in the book you also talk about lifestyle. Like you're really bringing together all the pieces. It's not just, okay, here's your blood work, look at this. Okay, here's the medication. It's this understanding of bringing all the pieces together. And I know that right now a lot of people don't want pharmaceutical interventions. I'm one of those people. I'm always like, I don't want a pharma solution. Why isn't there a natural solution? But what I learned from you was what's damaged is damaged, what's done is done. You can't help that your own body attacks your own thyroid. Sorry, I can't just regenerate that for you yet. Maybe in the future with stem cells we can. Who knows?
Right.
In this moment, in the book, you talk about your Fix method program and you talk about going beyond the prescription. And so, will you speak a little bit into that about your approach when it comes to nutrition, lifestyle, supplements, and like what have you seen move the needle the most reliably for
Mhm.
women who are already on the thyroid medications they're on, but they still don't feel well? Like there's still another piece to that puzzle.
Oh, girl, you ask such great questions. Okay. So again, I'm going to kind of load you down with information.
Yeah.
First of all, in the thyroid fix, yes, there's definitely a portion on food, on lifestyle, on the supplements. But I want people to know there is no one size fits all. And I talk about that in the book. So this isn't a diet plan. This isn't telling you to go keto or carnivore or anything like that. I break down each way of eating, whether you're carnivore or vegan. We're going to talk about that. And I always say your blood work really tells us how you should eat. And I talk people through, I teach them in the book exactly how to figure out which plan you probably should be on based on where you are in your journey and what we're actually seeing in your labs. So that part of the book is, we'll say, really customizable.
Nice.
So I don't want anybody thinking like, she's going to tell me to go carnivore and cut out all my carbs, or go do the AIP diet, autoimmune protocol diet. Like, that's just miserable. I get it. That's just miserable. No, it really is about just cleaning up the foundation. Because just like we said with inflammation, we can't bring in thyroid hormone onto a dumpster fire. So it's about getting that foundation right to accept the thyroid hormone that we're bringing in. Now, to your point on the pharma piece, and I said this to you as well, so I'm going to say it to your listeners who also think the same way, that they want to avoid, that little orange pill bottle that makes you think of your grandma. They just don't want to pick something up from CVS or Walgreens or get something in the mail from a compounding pharmacy. They want none of it. Okay, let's break this down. So that thyroid hormone replacement, we're not even going to call it medication. We're going to call it thyroid hormone replacement. We are replacing hormones that are no longer being properly made by your body. And the reason we're bringing in these beautiful hormones, and it's okay that your body doesn't make it anymore. It's okay if you had your thyroid removed, if you had it ablated, if you've had Hashimoto's for decades and it's just itty bitty now and it's not working real well, we can bring in those hormones. And for that person that goes, yeah, but I don't want to take medication, I go, number one, that thyroid hormone replacement coming in is going to keep you off of the Band-Aid medications that you really don't want. The antidepressant, the statin, the sleeping pill, the blood pressure medication, the ibuprofen in high doses for your joint pain and for your migraines. That's what this little thyroid hormone is going to keep you from. So you won't have a stack of those orange little pill bottles that your doctor is giving you as a Band-Aid solution. Number two, I always use this example. If you had a child that was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and the doctor comes in and says, Mrs. So-and-so, your child has type 1 diabetes. Their pancreas is no longer producing the proper amounts of insulin because it's getting attacked by their own body. We have to bring in the hormone insulin. At that point, you would be like, yeah, no, I don't want big pharma. I don't want that medication. Because the doctor would be like, okay, then your child has like 2 months to live, maybe a couple of weeks. Like, you can't survive without insulin. Now, can you survive without thyroid hormone or proper thyroid hormone? Yeah, it's just not going to be fun. And what's going to happen instead, that I think, I'm even guilty of this as well. I talk about the weight and the hair and the energy, but let's think about longevity. What's going to happen instead, as you avoid and push away that thyroid hormone replacement that you need, is number one, your immune system isn't going to work so well. So, we actually have a surveillance system going on that is killing off cancer cells every day. FYI, we all have cancer cells. And your immune system does a really good job at seeking and destroying. That surveillance system isn't going to work so well. Your risk of cancer goes up. Your brain has T3 receptor sites on it. Dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. A study recently came out in the last couple of weeks that shows a statistically significant increased risk of Parkinson's when the thyroid is not optimized. And when I say not optimized, I mean you're not on T4 only. You are on the proper thyroid hormone replacement for you. Heart disease. That tachycardia, that AFib, those heart issues, that increased plaque, decreased circulation, tying back to the thyroid. So, yeah, no, you're not gonna die immediately. You're gonna die eventually of a disease that could have been prevented.
Wow. So powerful. Yeah, when you explained that to me, I was like, that makes total sense. We're thinking of it as medicine because we pick it up at the pharmacy.
Uh-huh.
But if you understand that it's HRT, it's just another form of HRT. I asked for progesterone forever. And it took me like testing, proving blood test, all the tests. I have so many hormone tests on myself at this point because I'm always like, guys, you're not listening. I am telling you what I need, and you need 18 data points to prescribe, and you want 100 mammograms on me, which is a separate topic where I'm like, stop it, guys. But I finally got progesterone prescribed, and it's in a little orange bottle. And guess what? I love that orange bottle because
I love
that
it.
orange bottle gives me sleep, and God knows I want that perfect sleep. And to have progesterone on board has been a game changer. And then to have my thyroid hormones support really customized by you has been so powerful because now I have that clean energy I was looking for. Brain works, energy works, all the things work. And then whenever I do have weight gain that becomes resistant, which happens in certain seasons, I always think of you. I'm like, what would Amie say? What do I need to shift? What needs to change? And that's why I always reach out. I'm like, hey, I need help again. And I think we need to acknowledge that as women, just because we choose a plan doesn't mean that plan's going to work 5 years later, 10 years later. We are shifting. Our hormones are shifting. We're going to need to kind of dig into a new plan based on where we're at, especially in this perimenopause transition. Now, I know that the women who are listening to my show, typically they're in the 35 to 55 or they're in that 55 to 75 category. I've got both audiences, perimenopause and menopause. And she's done fighting her body. She's ready to actually understand it. And that's why she's listening in, is because she and I are on the same journey, trying to understand our bodies and learn from experts like you. What is the single most important thing that she should do this week based on everything in your new book, The Thyroid Fix? And then will you share any final thoughts with us that we might not have covered today?
Absolutely. Okay. What is the one thing she can do this week? Oh my gosh. Order the book, start taking Shivani's inflammation relief because that's going to take down your inflammation. And it's funny. I was just thinking, I'm like, we should package our supplements together because they would work so well, right? So,
True. I
so
love yours. I take her pregnenolone. I take her thyroid support. Dr. Amy makes great supplements. So we are both big fans of each other.
thank you. I love you. I love you. So no, I mean, honestly, the number one step is to get tested.
Yeah.
It just is. And so it's TSH, free T4, free T3, reverse T3, and the TPO and TGA antibodies. That is the full thyroid panel. I lay that out in the book. I tell you the optimal ranges that you need to be in. It has to start with testing. Test, don't guess. So, yeah, I could tell you to sleep more. I could tell you to, throw in this supplement, eat some more magnesium, whatever. But at the end of the day, unless we know exactly what is going on inside your body, we know nothing. We literally know nothing. I literally just had a nurse practitioner. She's up in Canada. So you know how hard it is for them to get proper testing up there. She texted me this morning. She's like, we've been going back and forth. She's like, would you look at my labs? I'm like, yeah, send them over. She sends them all over. Boom, 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 boom. Reverse T3 is missing. I go, we literally can't tell any because she's on natural desiccated thyroid, right? Exactly what I said. I need to know, are you converting that 80% of T4 into T3 or are you converting it into reverse T3? I go, get back to me once that reverse T3 comes in. Get all the testing. That's the only way we can look inside your body and go, oh, this is what's happening. Yes,
Sure.
there are antibodies present. So your body is attacking your thyroid. Yes, you have low free T3. That's why you're sluggish. That's why you're gaining weight. That's why you're losing your hair. That points to the why. And, a lot of people will say, like, well, what's the root cause of my thyroid problem? I go, the thyroid is the root cause of all your other problems.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you know
asked
what I
that
mean?
question.
Like, there's no, yes, the root cause could be like you had Epstein-Barr virus or you have Epstein-Barr virus, you had mono. So did 99.999% of the rest of the population. That's not new news. And you can't go back and undo mono. So it's like instead of looking for the root cause of your thyroid problem, maybe you had an eating disorder. Maybe you overexercised and did CrossFit 10 days a week. It doesn't matter. Your thyroid's in the toilet now. Now we have to do something about it. So what
Totally.
I would leave the audience with is hope.
Mm.
Hope. Because if you are in the same place that I was in, that Dr. Shivani was in, you start to lose hope. And when I tell my story, I don't get deep into the pain because I'm trying to get through the story and get to the point. But if I go back and I sit in my story, there is frustration. There is embarrassment. There is hiding my body. There's a loss of identity. Like there is not wanting to go out with my friends because I don't want to get dressed. There's not wanting to have sex with my partner because I don't want to get naked, much let alone have somebody else see me naked. My God. So there's this trickle effect that really starts to bring down your hope
Mm.
and bring down your confidence and bring down your I don't know, just hope keeps coming to mind. Hope that anything can change. So you have to have hope. You have to keep going. I don't care if you've seen 10 doctors that told you that your thyroid is normal. You do not accept that and you keep going because if I accepted it, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
True. And I heard you last week because I got to see you in person. Do you have a new testing kit available? Because a lot of times people will go to their doctors. I have been doing this for years. I'm like, go ask your doctor to test for this. And when anyone takes my blood work lists to their doctor, the doctors are like, that's insane. You have nothing you're going to operationalize on that. I have nothing I can do for you if I test all that. So I can't test that. That's outside my scope. And I'm always like, guys, they're going to get dinged if they start ordering $500 to $1,000 of blood work on all of us. And the solutions lie in the supplement world, not in what they're going to prescribe. So this is why you're not getting the testing you want. And that's actually the biggest problem my friends run into at primary care gynecology. They're like, I can't test for all that. My doctor looks at me like I'm crazy. So do you have a new testing solution available?
We do. And, these days, yes, you can go order your own labs, but then you have to have them interpreted. And if your doctor isn't going to interpret them, then what's the point? In addition, they can get really expensive. So
Yes.
we actually built an at-home test kit. It has all of the thyroid markers and all of the hormone markers because like we said, they play together. So we want to look at it in its entirety. We want to look inside your body and pair that up with the symptoms that you have and be able to say, oh my gosh, this is exactly why you have all of these symptoms. So you get the test kit that you can do in the comfort of your home. You just send it on back. It's very easy to do. We have a success line that you can call. They'll walk you through how to do it. It is completely painless. Totally, totally painless. I didn't even feel it. I did a video of me doing it. It's this little tassel that you put on your arm. You don't even feel it. If you put on a CGM, it hurts less than that. No pain at all. Send it in, and then you get a consultation with my team where we actually explain what's going on inside your body and explain why you're having those symptoms. So you can go to fixerpowerlab.com. So it's spelled FIXER the right way, power, POWERLAB.com, and you can order your own kit.
Amazing. Okay, perfect. This has been so good, Dr. Amie. You know you're one of my favorite humans. For me to hire a practitioner, and I think the people who listen to my podcast know this, it takes me a long time for me to pick the one who I put my trust in for my health. Because by the time my health hits a point that I can't manage it, I'm like, who's my person who I'm going to entrust my health to? And you really helped me turn the page 2 years ago when we started working together. And I will forever be grateful for that because I think it's just, as women, we need that person who's the expert, who understands what's going on and can really guide us. And while we worked together, I went through a lot of different things. My hair fell out because I took something that didn't work for me. And like my body is sensitive. My body doesn't always react the way I expect. It's why I need so much more customization when it comes to my health. And so I just appreciated you were like, no, don't worry. Let's understand this. Let's try this. What could this be? Turns out I had mold in my house and it was causing such hair loss, and we weren't sure where it was coming from until we finally got down to the bottom of it. But regardless of how much stress I dealt with in 2025, by far one of my most stressful years, I was able to get through because at least my thyroid health was great. My energy was still good. My brain still works, and I still had the energy to kind of battle the mold project of 2025 while still executing in an epic way on my book launch. So I was grateful. I was like, thank you, Amie, keeping me trudging through and moving through this with grace. So will you share with our audience where they can find you, where they can find your epic supplements, your new book, your podcast? Guys, her podcast is epic. So share all the things.
Oh, I love you. Okay. So if you're interested in working together like we did with Miss Shivani, you can go to dramie.com. On there, you can book a free call. You're booking a free call. We're going to talk to you. We're going to talk about what you've tried, what you're taking right now, what your frustrations are. Like, we want to know where you're at in your health journey so that we can discuss options for you to literally get you from broken to fixed. We prescribe in all 50 states, telehealth. You just sit there in the comfort of your home and we do it all. So that is at dramie.com, dramie.com. On there, you can click on the little store button and that will jump you over to the Fixer Formula supplement line. Like we talked about, I have everything from your basic support of T4 to T3 conversion, iodine, magnesium, selenium, all the way up to T2, which I have an entire chapter in the book on, of how that powers up your metabolism, decreases inflammation as well. That's why we got to pair up Thyroid Fixer and turmeric gold like together. I think that'd be a perfect combination. The podcast, Dr. Shivani has been on it as well. The Thyroid Fixer podcast. It's actually the Thyroid and Hormone Fixer podcast. We added a little bit of an and hormone because I really want people to know that they play together. It's about the whole picture, thyroid and hormones together. That's why the test kit has thyroid and hormones together. And then, of course, all the socials. You can buy my book on Amazon. That's the best place. Because you know what? If you're into Audible, like I am, entrepreneurs can't read. We listen. We don't have time to read. I actually added in bonus tracks to every single chapter so that I could just expand and sound more like myself. Because when you're reading a book, it's kind of methodical. Like you try to put in personality, but then, I mean, you know me, Shivani. I'm like, I got to expand on this. Give me the mic. So I added additional bonus chapters for the Audible people.
Very cool. I love it. Okay. Well, I have your physical book. I always give my best physical books to my friend who reads books.
Yeah.
And then I download them on Audible.
Exactly.
That is how I'm going to consume it. And I love that you read it, so I get to listen to your voice. For everyone who's listening today, check out the Thyroid Fix. I highly recommend it. We all need to understand our thyroid health and our hormone health so much better if we're going to navigate our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond in a graceful way, feeling the way that we deserve to feel. And I'm a big fan of Dr. Amie's work, so check out her book and check out her podcast, everything that she's shared today. And I can't wait to see you guys next week for the next episode of this podcast, the Inflammation Code Podcast. For more information on it, you can check out my website at drshivani.com. Thank you for joining me today, Amie. You are epic.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you. Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful week. I hope you enjoyed this episode.